years old when the King scored his last win right here at Daytona. So much respect and responsibility when you took over that ride. What part of this? I mean, most kids dream of meeting Richard Petty. You've won for him.
Man, it's so awesome. The amount of effort that's gone into this race team this year with everybody at Richard Petty Motorsports trying to get better and trying to build this race team back to a winning race team the way it deserves to be is it's been so cool to watch it grow and to bring Trent Owens over and to watch our sponsor, Smithfield Foods, keep investing in our race team and giving us more and more money to go out and the resources that we need to be competitive and to get this U.S. Air Force Ford Fusion into victory lane today. 30 years to the weekend that Richard Petty won his 200th win is really, really special. The good Lord was looking out for us today. We had a really fast car nonetheless, but I'll take them any way we can get them, man. We're going to be in the chase, so this race team deserves to be in the chase. I told everybody at the beginning of the year, I told our sponsors, everybody that was committing to our race team, I said, I promise you I will get you to victory lane. And lo and behold, we've done it.
You started out scraping the mud off your grandfather's dirt car. You started racing go-karts at age 8. This is your home racetrack. Could you have scripted it any better, your first Sprint Cup win, and in the famous 43?
No, I can't. I went last week down to Tampa, my hometown, to do a lot of media and stuff, promoting the Daytona race here in July. And I've said time and time again how bad I want to win here. This is my home race, 2 hours away from Tampa, Florida. And I grew up sitting in those grandstands right up there watching Daytona 500s and Firecracker 400s and dreamed about what it'd be like to race here. And, man, I just took the 43 car to victory lane at Daytona.
And you touched on the significance. You're in the chase. You now have a chance for the championship.
Yeah, and this race team is deservingly so. I mean, we've had good cars. We've had cars where we've run up in the top 10 and just haven't got the finishes. And we've been right there where we need to be competitive. We just haven't got to that next level. And this is so cool to get this team and all these guys right here behind me that have been working at this race team for a long time and haven't got to go to victory lane with this 43 car. Is so special. I wish my wife and kids were here. They contemplated coming, and they didn't decide to come, and I wish they were here so bad.
Today will be a special memory for Aric Almirola. In fact, the last time a Petty car went to victory lane, owned by the Petty family, here at Daytona, 1981.
500, the only NASCAST podcast that doesn't submit to Brian Francis' dictatorship. I am Elizabeth Moxley, and this is
Adam Hamm.
I don't know where Phil is, so we're gonna just head on away. Wow, Daytona. That was an atrocious, abomination, pathetic race I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, sweet, we're going to Daytona. It's the Cooksie 400. Friday, okay, qualifying was drained out. Okay, well, just qualifying. We can do the race anyway, right? No. I had to wait 3 fucking hours for the race to, for TNT to say, oh yeah, we're not going racing. Really? Really? You had to wait 4 fucking hours just for them to tell you, yeah, it's raining so fucking hard we can't race. So then, they race on Sunday in the daytime, which hasn't been done since 1997, the last time the 400 was ran in the day. And that didn't even fucking work because not even 99 laps in, there were already fucking storm clouds on the horizon, and then by the 112th lap, it was already fucking raining. So, yeah, it was definitely a sad excuse for a restricted plate race, and I was thinking, okay, well, if the rain holds out, maybe this will be better than Talladega, because the finish at Talladega was kind of bullshit, but, that Daytona let us down again, just like both races did last year, and I don't even want to get into that. Only good thing that came from Daytona was Aric Almirola winning, and I was like, finally the 43 car gets back to victory lane, and I'm a big Petty fan, Richard Petty fan, and Petty Enterprises fan. I've always liked anybody who drove for Petty Enterprises, and when I saw Aric Almirola won, because by the time the race was over, I was sleeping, and I woke up at like 2, and I had the race recorded on my DVR, and I read on my phone that said Almirola wins. I'm like, what? Oh, I gotta see this. And then I heard it was rain short, and I was like, damn, so he didn't even get to do a burnout or nothing? That sucks. But, yeah, speaking of sucks, they this Daytona race was just garbage. I really hope that the Talladega race in October is a lot better.
Here's the sad part. The first wreck involved 16 cars. The second wreck, and I want to bang my head against the wall, 26 cars. Now, please tell me NASCAR wasn't stupid enough to say, hey, let's just wait until the rain dies down and we can start at the nighttime.
Right.
You know what Brian Francis is like? No, we need to save money.
Yeah, that's always Brian Francis' forte is, hey, doesn't matter if it looks shitty or not, if the fans don't like it, I'm getting fucking money for it. Brian Francis always never gave a shit about, what the NASCAR fans think. And if the fans, if Brian Francis really did what the fans would think, or what they're thinking, and implemented it into NASCAR, here's what I guarantee would happen. Number one, the chase would be gone. Number two, Jimmy Johnson would be fucking penalized any fucking time he gets got caught cheating. And three, they would actually, penalize people who deserve it, not people who are just like, oh, they get this one little tiny thing, you're getting 50 points penalized. And another one, to get rid of Brian France, Mike Hilton, and Robert Pemberton. And, if you got rid of just the Three Stooges, NASCAR would be so much better off.
Yeah, let me just go 1 second. I just got a message from Phil. He's going to be on in a couple seconds. So.
Okay.
Let's see. Brian Vickers. That's just a shot prize.
Finishing second. Yeah, I was like, wow. I'm really surprised. I'm really proud of Vickers for stepping it up this year, going full time. Wait.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna add Phil right now.
Okay.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Sorry for
we're discussing the abomination that was called Daytona. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, definitely. I was at the IndyCar race actually on Sunday, so I was the only thing I heard about the race before I got home or got back to my friend's house and watched it via DVR was that Tony got wrecked 20 laps into the race. I didn't realize that Jeff Gordon finished off 16 cars, including Richard. Richard went and lost his talent in front of everybody, and then Jeff Gordon decided to wreck everybody. And Tony had probably one of the best cars, if not the best car, after 20 laps that I've seen in a long time. One of his best cars he's had in a while. And unfortunately, he got wrecked, and he lost a ton of points. Young Money lost a ton of points, and at least in the end, it took out Johnson and Earnhardt for the most part. Gordon got away unscathed. That's usually how it works out at plate races, which is annoying. At the same token, Greg Biffle got the Bug-Eye Dummy struck again and wrecked another 15 cars in the process. Some of those cars got wrecked twice, and it basically was a benefit, and then the rain came. I'm just glad that somebody new won instead of like Jeff Gordon getting paid off for wrecking half the field or some of those other guys. The race wasn't great at all. I give Landon Castle a lot of credit for basically taking a start our car and running up front as long as he did. Same for Gilliland and Bobby Labonte and Terry Labonte were up there randomly. It was like going back to 1995 all over again. But otherwise, other than Aric Almirola winning and giving props to Landon Castle, the race was just a typical abomination that is plate racing, and Daytona, as usual, sucked. I'm biased, I guess, because my drivers don't usually run well there, but that's the conversation I was having with my friend Randy, who I went to the race with, and he's a huge diehard fan of NASCAR, and it's like the plate racing as it is currently constituted is terrible. I mean, plate racing in general sucks, but this current package that they have doesn't allow people to really pass. So that's my 2 cents just to start off with.
Yeah, it was like 112 laps.
Yeah, there's a 112 lap race because of the rain, because they called it quits. And they decided that they would, because they had already made the people wait a day, and then they're going to have a travel day on a holiday weekend to go back. That's my assumption as to why they called it. The logic that people are saying, oh, well, they wanted Richard Petty to win. I mean, hell, Richard Petty wasn't even at the racetrack. So if it was Casey Mears, or if it was somebody like that, somebody of that ilk, I probably think they would have tried to make an attempt to dry it and go back out there. But Aric Almirola had a fast piece on Sunday, and he won the first race for Richard Petty since 1999. I mean, for the 43 since 99, and that's only probably their fifth or sixth win in the last 30 years or whatever. So, I mean, good on Aric Almirola to make the chase, and at least the 43 will get talked about during the last 10 weeks instead of being an also-ran. Puts pressure on Marcus Ambrose, actually, to win on a road course or win anywhere, because now that Aric Almirola's won, whatever way it came, it puts a lot of pressure on Ambrose to actually show up. Because if he doesn't, even though I do think he's going back home after this year, it's going to be a big problem for him.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the 43 in the chase for like the first time in ages?
The 43 is competing for a championship for the first time probably since Richard Petty won his 7th championship. I don't remember if Bobby Hamilton was a part of was able to compete for a championship when he drove the top 10 in points.
Yeah. All right. Adam, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just accidentally pressed the button on my Skype for some odd reason, so that's my fault.
It's okay.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that was I'm so grateful that I have a job and I can go to that job and not care about race that has been like held off for rain. And the idiots knew about the weather conditions, and it's just basically Brian France and his cronies almost put the drivers' lives in danger.
Yeah, basically, I don't know what's up with that. Like I said before, Brian France doesn't give a shit if anybody gets hurt. He's just like, I get money. And he's trying his damnedest to make NASCAR look like a fucking joke now. What with the chase, Johnson winning 6 fucking championships, which is bullshit, by the way, and all this other bullshit, docking people who don't deserve to be penalized, and letting Johnson and all these other assholes get away scot-free, and also the fact that just some of the stuff that he comes up with, like this new schedule change for quote-unquote schedule change for 2015, basically it's just going to, one of those deals where it's just going to benefit Johnson and not anybody else. Like, it'll screw up everybody else's game plan, and it'll help Johnson's.
I mean, everything that Brian France does, like Adam is saying, I mean, it's not very conducive to actual racing. I figure his dad and grandfather are rolling around in their graves every day that they see this sport go down the toilet, because I went to the IndyCar race, I had a good time, I had fun, and it was worth every penny to me. I saved a hell of a lot of money by going to that race, and it wasn't the greatest race, but at the end of the day, I was more entertained than what I was by watching that garbage once I got home. And Brian France, the schedule change that he's trying to do is just like what my buddy Randy said. He's just trying to figure out a way to kill the historic tracks and make it so that they go to a bunch of cookie cutters and big cities, and you just get rid of all the history of the series. And it's true, because what they're saying is Darlington's going to get moved to the second race of the season. It's like, instead of moving it back to Labor Day where it should be, and just move Atlanta to, say, the second race of the season, which would keep them closer to where they are, keep them go to Daytona and go to Atlanta. Look, nobody's going to the race one way or the other at Atlanta. they've proven that Atlanta doesn't sell. The only reason it's still on the schedule is because Bruton Smith is the owner of the track. And it's one of the only good tracks they really go to. It's just the fact that nobody goes. But if they move Darlington to the second race of the year, it's one nail in the coffin, and they're trying to kill Martinsville as well. And that's the way, I mean, it's hard for me to watch races anyway, but with the terrible announcing and the terrible, all the stuff that goes on, and but, bad driving too, and just constantly being stuffed down our throat, this crap with Hendrick Motorsports and how great Junebug is, but if they start taking away the history of the series, what got me into the sport, I mean, they'll have no problem losing me, but they don't care about me. All Brian Krantz cares about is how many Dewar's bottles he can get and how many he can drink in a race. That's all that matters to him. He doesn't give a crap about us, and that's why we have this show.
Yeah. Well, coming in third is Kurt Busch, and they penalized him for an infraction.
Quote-unquote infraction.
Yeah, infraction. Daniel Nass fined $10,000. Busch loses 10 championship points, and Haas loses 10 championship points. Oh, lovely.
That doesn't matter at all anyway, because they're like 28th in points or whatever. The points don't make a difference. They're about 150, 200 points behind the points leader. They come up, what is this? I'm reading it right now. At the Z height measurement between the center of the panhard bar bolt. So basically, the left rear corner was too low. They're basically saying that the left rear corner was too low based on when they rolled it through post-race inspection and they put the claw on top of it. It made no difference to his car. It didn't give him all that much more performance. He was the fastest car that was left anyway. Because basically, by the time Biffle and Gordon got done with their nonsense, they wrecked the whole entire field. So for Kurt Busch, the penalty makes no difference. The fact that he felt like he caused a second wreck and then he thought he blew the race is the bigger issue, because he's a head case and he needs to have positive thoughts, even though they're running, subpar. But he needs to have positive thoughts going into these races when he has a chance, when he's going to make the chase. Daniel Knos did nothing wrong there, and Gene Haas, he doesn't give a crap anyway. He's working on his Formula One team. He's not even there. So they're the only legitimate SHR car that was left at the end of that race, and that penalty isn't going to make a difference in the end, because they'll probably figure out a way to win another race, and it will make no difference.
Yeah, it won't make it. What sucks is that, and I'm thinking okay, Kurt going over to Stuart Haas this year after last year with the 78 team, I thought, okay, this is going to be way awesome. He'll make the chase, win some races, and that'll be it. Being a Kurt fan, how he's running this season really embarrasses me, because I'm just like, Jesus, Kurt, you can run better than this. And what sucks is that the only car that's actually running great at HHR is fucking Harvick. The rest of them are just running like shit. Fucking Stewart's best finish is like a fourth at Bristol earlier in March. Other than that, he's finished like shit the rest of the season. Well, Kurt, besides finishing third at Pocono and at Daytona and winning at Martinsville, he's been driving like shit this year. And, well, we don't even have to talk about the marketing machine, because we know how shitty she runs. But yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed that he left a good team to go to a team that thought would be working superb, and instead is running like, I don't know, like some low-level team like, JT Doherty or fucking some team like that that's running like in the mid-pack all the time. And it sucks to see one of your favorite drivers run like shit like that. But I don't know what needs to happen to Stuart Haas to make them run better, but something needs to happen. And even Harvick's running like shit. Like, even though he's won 2 races, and technically he will get in the chase as long as he doesn't fall to 30 points and within the next 9 races or whatever. I mean, races left in Richmond. Anyway. Yeah, won't happen anyway. He's just, other than that, winning at Phoenix and Darlington, she's been running like shit too. Like, he has the best car, almost gets close to winning the race, and then something fucks him over. Tires, blown engines. I mean, yeah, exactly. And then some people on NASCAR America is like, if none of those accidents ever happened, Harvick would probably have like 5 wins by now. And I believe it because his cars have just been fucking fast as shit this whole year. It's just that bad luck has caught up with him, and he hasn't been able to bounce back from it, and that sucks because it sucks to see that the chase grid has the only person with 3 wins is fucking Johnson, and I'm just like, if I see this heading into Homestead, I'm not even gonna watch. I give up.
You know, I agree with you on that. I mean, on the thing with Stewart-Haas, they're starting everything. They basically redid everything. You know, Tony said, I want a clean house. I'm going to have to add this 14 because Gene Haas got a hard-on and he wanted Kurt Busch. All right. So he added Kurt Busch. It's a new crew chief who's an engineer. They're trying to get used to each other. Yeah, they haven't really run all that great, but in the end, it's a negligible difference because if you look at where he's running and where Martin Truex is running, if you're going to compare apples to apples where he used to be and where he is now, they're running about the same. Martin Truex is not anywhere near the driver that Kurt Busch is, but it's not. I think as much as anything, it's learning a new system. For Stewart, the last month or so, he's finally started picking up the pace because he was just trash up until May, the middle of May. Other than those 2, top 5s of strategy, Johnston and him seem to be developing a good relationship, and the timing it's starting to come along when it matters most, which is in the summer for him. He only needs 1 win because he's in the top 20 or just around there. Only needs 1 win to make it. I mean, Aric Almirola's 21st in points. He's in the chase. So you just have to stay there. You're not having people make random runs from 27 to get, or 31st out to go and get in. So even as long as he wins, it's all about winning. And hopefully in the next few weeks, some of these teams start getting a little ballsy and starts taking some real chances. Because it should have been happening all season. And the only person that's really done it is Earnhardt. And, maybe a couple other guys. But really Earnhardt's the only guy I've seen that's taken a risk, for a win. Harvick has had the fastest car all year at every racetrack. He was my preseason pick to win the title. His combination with him and Rodney Childers is awesome. And Stewart wants him to win because that's his buddy, and he wants to prove that it's not just Stewart winning championships within his own cars. He wants Harvick to win. He's gotten close before. He hasn't been able to close the deal. And the only solace they have in falling out of races, having all this shit happen to them, is that it's happening before the start of the chase. If it happened in the chase, they're done. In this case, it doesn't matter because they're in the top 15. They've won 2 races. Probably could have won another 5 or 6 more. It is what it is. There's nothing else to say about it. The only thing is keeping Harvick in check, making sure he doesn't explode, making sure that pit crew is in a prime position, whether they have to take Pucamania's pit crew and put that crew on the 4 or whatever they have to do, because all the pit crews outside of hers are absolute garbage at SHR. And that's something that has to be cleaned up because there's going to be 2 in the chase and possibly and hopefully 3. So if that's the case, they need to have somebody that can pit those cars, and because none of the guys have done the job that are pitting any of those cars. Stewart's had to overdrive his cars just to get them up front, and then the same Harvick said all kinds of things, and Busch has had a lackluster year, but it only takes 10 weeks, good 10 weeks in the fall to make a bad season look great.
Yeah, and what sucks is that, everyone was about the hype about Stewart coming back after his injury and thinking, oh my God, # smoke will rise, smoke will win. And I'm just like, Stewart hasn't been in a car since August. That's 8 months. He's been on his ass doing nothing with a broken leg. He's not going to win the Daytona 500 the first race he's in. Give him some time.
He's probably spent it.
After the 5th race, I was just like, okay, Stewart, you can do better than this. Go on. And then by Darlington, I was just like, Jesus Christ, Stewart, there's no way you can run this bad. Right now, he's not even in the top 20 in points. If he wanted to get in the chase, basically on points, he'd be fucked. Unless he wins the next couple of races, or a race, he ain't getting in the chase. He is fucked.
Okay.
2006 all over again.
You know what he did those past 8 months instead of rehabilitating, laying on his lazy ass?
What?
He probably got like some stripper to like perform lap dances on him or something.
More than likely, I mean, that's what I would do if I had a broken leg.
If I'm, as a Stewart fan, I know he's got plenty of ladies that want to give him lap dances and do him real good in his log cabin, so he probably had no problem with that. I also do think that he wanted to come.
Definitely got pit lizards everywhere.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of women that want to bang the brains out of him, and there's plenty of, and Stewart doesn't hurt in that way. He may not have arm candy at the pre-race, but he has plenty of arm candy in the back of his truck and all that other stuff. And hey, that's one of the reasons why I like the guy. The guy doesn't have any filter. He doesn't care. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't go and kill Richard, because he wanted to kill Richard after that wreck, which at the end wasn't Richard's fault, really. He made a really good, it was all Gordon. But I would say, give the rest of the top five. It was Busch, Casey Mears. He's kind of, a guy that only runs well at plate tracks. Austin Dillon gets his first career top five.
Which was a shock.
Which is ironically at Daytona, which is the only place he can finish well. Denny Hamlin somehow finished. He finished sixth. McDowell, props to him in the 95 Levine car, getting a seventh, basically a Penske R&D car. They were the only one that basically made it out clean, because Keselowski and Logano had issues in the second wreck. Well, Keselowski in both wrecks and Logano in the second. I won't mention who finished eighth. Clint Boyer finished ninth, and Marcus Ambrose rounded out the top 10. Terry Labonte in his next to last career start finished 11th. Best finish for the Frank Stoddard team, because that team usually runs about 5 to 10 laps down every week. This is one of those wild card events. Gordon, who ended up causing the first wreck, ended up finishing 12th. Junebug got a 14. Alex Bowman from dead last finished 13th. So, I mean, a couple of them Hendrick cars got away with the wreck, and the Penske guys got out of the wrecks. Michael Waltrip, who completely screwed over Joe Nemechek in qualifying, like the faggot that he is, made the race.
I heard about that.
And finished 19th, one lap down, which when you consider how many people were wrecked, to finish one lap down, I mean, that just shows how much of a scrub he is, and he's that cocksucker. And then, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, you go down, only the top 20 were within a lap. Everything else was just like a cluster wreck. So, I mean, that race was basically decided 20 laps in when the first big wreck happened, and the second big wreck was just a bonus for all the people that love cars crashing, which is a plate racing specialty. So, that race was not great at all. I don't know, but
I'm surprised this Patrick didn't cause the two of the wrecks. It's a miracle she came in 8th unscathed.
Yeah, and it's just like Dylan, how he can only run good at the play tracks for everyone else who runs like shit. That's Danica's forte. She runs like shit at every other racetrack. But this article, I saw it like 3 days before the race, said, Danica Patrick to heat up summer race at Daytona. I'm like, yeah, heat up her tires and hit the fucking wall or blow her engine. Like, that's about as heating it up as far as that goes. Like,
unless she gave somebody a Hummer, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Danica only strives on finishing good, quote-unquote, at Daytona and Talladega. She finished shit at Talladega, as always. She finished shit at every other track. And besides finishing 8th last year in the 500, this is probably like her only top 10.
You guys ever heard of the Dale Jr. download?
Miracle and all miracles.
So, we know that.
This is. I mean,
the machine. It's all hype.
Yeah, I mean, freaking Kyle Petty and Wally Dallenbach and that piece of trash Adam Alexander were blowing her cock like nobody's business. Oh my God, she avoided a wreck. Oh, she avoided a wreck. She stopped. She stopped and maybe had a scratch on the car twice. All right? There's nothing. She didn't avoid anything. All right? Austin Dillon in that second wreck took the rear tires, lifted the rear tires of Paul Menard off, turned him into the wall, turned No Neck into the wall. Yeah, that was a pretty good save. I'll give him that. He went and rode the flat and the banking, but in the end, he had to dump both of his teammates to save himself and get that top 5 finish. And with her, they made it sound like it was the greatest save that has ever been done in the history of motorsport. Look, treat her what she is, a mediocrity that sells, trinkets, and I mean, that's the whole point. You look at some of these lower funded teams that got into the top 10 and top 20. That's why, because there's no rhyme or reason to plate racing. It doesn't take much talent to go and drive plate racing. That's why Michael Waltrip could win at him. That's why Mike Wallace keeps on getting hired and he goes and runs plate races, but he can't do anything else. It shows how good Landon Castle is, which is something we'll talk about with the Nationwide Series and then later on for picks for the drivers. But, it's like there's no rhyme or reason to talk about her. This week she'll be 28th to 34th, as she usually is. Indy, they'll make a big deal about her because she runs so well in the Indy 500, albeit she's in the best equipment virtually every year she was there. But it gets old after a while, and they talk about her because it's one of the only places she does well, so whatever. It's few and far between, thankfully.
Yeah, the other news items this week, this race team alliance with the 9 teams that are forming a union, of course. The owner of the co-owner of Michael Waltrip Racing, Rob Kaufman, is like chairman. I believe this is not going to work.
This has the formula that it isn't going to work. The moment I heard about this quote-unquote race team alliance, I was like, yeah, give it about 3 more months and this shit will be over. By the end of the season, this shit will be gone. This won't be around in 2015. I won't say NASCAR is fine the way it is because, let's face it, NASCAR this day and age sucks ass. It's nothing like it was in the 70s and 80s when we had Dale Sr., Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, Rusty Wallace, Tim Richmond, the late Alan Kwick, the late Davey Allison, the late Neil Bonnet. All those people who made NASCAR better for what it is. Since 2004, since they created the chase, and since Dale Johnson won all these races, NASCAR has gone down the shitter. And this gives me the impression that this won't end well. This will more than likely, like one of my friends, Jonathan Phipps, he was saying that this isn't going to work. This is a bad idea, and that it reminds him.
Hello?
And they ended up leaving. And I honestly believe that this won't work at all. It sounds like a shitty idea from the start. Basically, you got all the big number teams in this, and it's just like, well, fuck all the other teams. We're the only teams that matter. And it sucks that two of the teams that are in that equation are one of my favorite teams, RPM and Penske. And Ellen Stewart Haas, except for Danica. The rest of them, I could give 2 shits less, honestly. But honestly, I don't think this is going to end well. This will be gone before the start of the next season. And this will just be one that NASCAR was thinking, what the fuck are we thinking? They'll be shaking their heads after this.
On the one hand, I want to agree with both of you on this, but personally, outside of the obvious fact that it's all the teams, the big teams, instead of, including the small market efforts like the Germains and the BKs, and they basically, I don't know if Furniture Row is in it even. I didn't look at it that closely.
No, it's not.
But the fact is, Yeah, and which I find interesting. The Furniture Row, all the teams that basically pay bills to Richard Childress aren't in there. They're all extensions of Richard Childress Racing, and they're not in it, which I find to be questionable. Yeah, all the big Toyota teams are in it. The Ford teams are basically one for the exception of Penske. Penske is trying to do their own thing again, and Chevy is basically Hendrick Motorsports / SHR. So you knew all of them would be included in one deal, and then RCR is basically out with RCR and Ganassi. To me, outside of the obvious, no, not including the smaller teams, I think I want to see what they're trying to do. The fact that it's Rob Kaufman running it, he's the guy, that's the only reason MWR exists. Because if it had anything to do with straight Michael Waltrip, that team would have been done in 2007. Rob Kaufman saved the team. Rob Kaufman's name was on the car this week for Boyer. He's also responsible for almost killing a couple of guys at Le Mans a couple of years ago, but that's beside the point, Rob Kaufman, because he sucks at race car driving. But he's a businessman, and it's similar to what the Formula One Teams Association was, where they were trying to instill change and try to get some things done that would work better for the teams, because the costs are going through the roof with all these changes, stupid changes they make to the cars. They're going to be putting in a new engine package, which is going to cost an arm and a leg. You know, they change the cars every year. They change the shitty tires they put on it. Somehow or another are changed, but they're still shitty. You know, and basically you're pricing out. You count how many of those cars. I think that's probably 25 out of the 43 cars that run every week. So what about the other 18 cars that come every week? You know, that's one question. And then the other thing is, you're basically trying to start a union. The last time there was a union was back in the 60s. Alright, so it was, the race in general was typical, or we were talking about the race teams union. Alright, yes. So I think we have to see what they're trying to do before I completely think it goes away. The Talladega incident back in 1969 because of the bad tires, what a shocker. But of course the cars were going much faster, they were much heavier, there was a better chance of death, bigger chance of death than back then. And the likes of Richard Petty and Bobby Allison and those guys all left. And Bill France, Big Bill, said, screw you, I'm going to run a race. The race went off, and then there was no more unions. This is the first time there's been rumors of them at times since, but nothing has really come off. This is similar to that Formula One Teams Association and other racing or other series where they all work together. The point is, how is it going to help each of these teams when they're battling for the same sponsors? Unless they're going to go and tell NASCAR to stop hogging all the sponsors for entitlements and actually let them get the sponsors so that some of these smaller efforts can actually exist. But I would say that I'll give it a little time. I mean, I don't have very much, I don't believe in it very much because I don't really know much about what's going to happen. But unions and NASCAR haven't worked in the past when I think the only reason they can do something like this is because of the mediocre leadership that the sport has. That's really why I think they were able to at least get to this point. So let's see what happens.
Okay, now we're in the Subway Firecracker 250. What a boring race. No major crashes or anything. Candy Cane won with a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, I heard about that. I wasn't even home for the race. I was up in Lake Erin with my cousin trying to find spots for the fireworks, and that didn't work, so we're just like, fuck it, let's go home. And when I came home, I had my phone on, and it said King won. I'm like, the fuck Kane was in this race? What the fuck was this? Like, damn. You know, don't get me wrong. I hate it when Cup drivers are nationwide and they win all the fucking time, but with Kane it's different because he hasn't won a nationwide in 7 years, so he's not like fucking Kyle and Brad and Logano all the time winning every fucking race that's on the fucking schedule. But still, it's just like, goddamn, can a fucking nationwide driver win more than just like once a year? I mean, the only nationwide winners we have this year are Chase Elliott, Regan Smith, Brendan Gaughan, and Elliott Sadler. Other than that, the rest of it's just been Kyle, Brad, and the rest of them. Yeah, I didn't get to watch I got to saw the finish on YouTube, but that's about as much of the race I watched.
I mean, for me, I was at a fireworks deal in PA. Went on my one vacation I'm going to get all year, basically, and I was down there hanging out with friends, and I saw the start of the race because it got delayed, and then I saw the last 30 laps of the race, parts of it, but the race really wasn't going anywhere. Regan had a piece to win again and sweep the season at Daytona, and his teammate passed him with Ryan Sieg basically stuck to his bumper, and the NASCAR and their stupid rules with bump drafting or tandem drafting or all these things, it's restrictive because these cars, especially nationwide, if you run the nationwide cars with the tandem draft, it's a much better race than the garbage they put on Friday. And it doesn't work the same way in Cup. However, being able to do something other than just have to sit in a pack and hope is better than what the heck the package they have. It speaks more to the bad rules packages they have than anything else. Candy Cane winning the race is whatever. I mean, who the hell cares? He's irrelevant. He's going to get fired after next year for Chase Elliott in the 5 car. It's the all-star car, and Kevin Harvick's won a couple times this year in that car, and Junebug's driven it and put the 88 on it, and so Candy Cane winning in a Hendrick Motorsports car. There's a Hendrick Motorsports 1-2. It says Junior Motorsports, but it's a Hendrick Motorsports 1-2. Regan Smith retook the points lead. The fact that there's 4 nationwide winners, I think, is more winners than they had last year. Because 2012 was a really good season where they had the 2 dominant guys in Richard and in Elliott Sadler. 2013 was a total mess. I think only Trevor Bayne and Regan Smith. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but I definitely remember those 2 winning races. And outside of that, it was either Kyle Busch or Matt Kenseth or Brad or Joey or somebody like that winning. But whatever, the finish was okay. It was a slam. It was a bump draft. It was a bump draft or a tandem draft by Ryan Sieg. I'm just glad they didn't penalize him because I'm glad they didn't go and car long him because I figure that's what they do. NASCAR penalizes the little guy for doing something. They always do that. They did it to James Buescher in the February race. They do it to these smaller teams. We're trying to make the show instead of penalizing the big teams who do the same stuff. So I'm just glad for Ryan Sieg. He runs out in the 15s to 25. Usually top 25s are good for him. For him to get a 3rd place finish is pretty big, and for Ryan Reed to actually finish a race is pretty big. His first top 5 of his career, I believe. And Young Money finished 5th. Logano, Bubba Wallace in a 3rd Joe Gibbs car finished 7th after getting spun off turn 1 and 2. Clements, another independent guy, got a top 10. Great run for him. And Mike Wallace there, who's a plate specialist, took that small team, finished 10th. A lot of the big names had struggles, got shuffled back. At least Kyle Busch didn't have anything to do with the finish for once.
Yeah. Our favorite driver, quote unquote, Wes Townley, not only didn't crash, but he finished 18th.
Wow, that's like really, really. That's what I'm looking for. Oh yeah, weird. Like most of the time,
yeah.
We talked about this a lot one of the last episodes. John Wes Townley wrecks every fucking thing he drives. he wrecks his trucks. He wrecks his nationwide cars. All I gotta say is we better fucking hold on and strap in our seatbelts when he fucking gets into a cup car. Jesus Christ, especially if it's at a place track. He'll flip like Petty did in '88 at Daytona or Wallace in '93. Like, man, he'll wreck the hardest and the fastest he's ever wrecked in his life because he can't stop from wrecking. But 18th, well, that's actually decent, I guess, but since it's John Wes Townley, it's like really surprising because I would have figured he was in the wall or he lost a tire or he finished a couple laps down because of problems on his car. But to finish 18th, I wouldn't say that's pretty good, but I would say that's better than how he usually finished.
You know what I did during the week? I actually went on Zaxby's website and looked at their menu. Man, I wanted Zaxby's in New Jersey. Their food looks so good.
Yeah, I've seen commercials for it, and it definitely looks better than KFC for sure.
Oh no, I can't eat a KFC.
But you consider that it's John Wes Townley's dad that runs the dang company, and if it's anything like how his son drives, I don't know if it's really that good.
Yeah, for all you know, it may give you food poisoning or some shit like that.
There you go.
Oh, well, I had Bojangles when I went to North Carolina in February. Their chicken's not that bad.
Yeah, they're supposed to be pretty good. I remember when they sponsored Derek Cope with Cale Yarborough back in 1993. That was I didn't know what it was, and I still didn't know what it was until recently. What Bojangles was, but all these chicken places, they need to have a Popeyes car out there. Really, need to have a KFC car, Popeyes car. Every food place needs to have a car. That's what they won't have beer sponsors or cigarette sponsors. They won't even let e-cigs be out there or hard liquor. But every freaking fast food place and restaurant should have a car. That's the way it should be.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna say, Adam?
I was gonna say that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, out of all the fast food place cars that we've had on sponsors on cars, we really haven't had much. I mean, if you look at it. I mean, Burger King, yeah, they sponsored Ruderman and they sponsored the BK team. McDonald's sponsored Bill Elliott in the 90s, and now they sponsor Jamie McMurray. All the other ones, Jack in the Box, Carl's Jr., Hardee's, they don't sponsor anybody anymore, which I'm like, I would like to see a Carl's Jr. / Hardee's car out there. That'd be cool. Or maybe an In-N-Out car when someone comes out to California or they go somewhere on the West Coast. But, yeah, Domino's sponsored Ruderman in 2007. Yeah, that was the only time that Domino's sponsored a car. Pizza Hut's never sponsored a car, at least I don't think. Papa John's never has. Round Table never has.
Actually. They sponsored Ron Hornaday back in '95 for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Papa John's, and then Napa took over the sponsorship of the 16. That's one that goes back a long ways. But ever since, Papa John's is basically doing commercials with frickin' Peyton Manning, so he's too busy not kissing Peyton Manning's ass to sponsor a cup car or anything like that. Yeah,
and the fact that Pizza Hut now has a new quote-unquote person, Blake Shelton. And I'm just like, this does not make me want to buy pizza. It makes me not want to buy pizza from Pizza Hut, and that's sad because Pizza Hut's my favorite pizza place. But back onto the subject of the fast food sponsor thing. You really don't see that many fast food places on cars. You do see Burger King on the 83 and the 23. You see McDonald's on the 1, and that's about it. The rest of it's beer, sponsorships, and all this other shit. I'd like to see more fast food sponsors on cars. It'd be pretty cool to have another sponsor out there, like a Jack in the Box car or a Carl's Jr. car or something like that. It just seeing Burger King and McDonald's is just like, this isn't what I like. If I have to choose between the two, I'd rather just eat hot ramen, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I think 2 weeks ago in my hometown, there's a Chick-fil-A between a Raymore and Flanagan and a Lowe's. Like, approximately 500 to 1,000 people were camping at the site just to get free chicken.
Oh my God! And if they were if they're probably the lowest, they're probably Johnson fans. And then I was just been like, yeah, we don't serve people who support cheaters. Get the hell out of here.
Mostly Junebug fans, I would think. That's really what that segment is.
Oh Christ!
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I love Junior, but God, his fans just scare me. Him and Johnson fans really make me scared of my life.
I listened to the Dale Jr. download. You should hear Reaction Theater. Oh my God, approximately 75% of the callers are mostly drunk.
Yeah, and a lot of them are just like, oh my God, Dale Jr. is the best NASCAR driver ever just because his dad was Dale Sr. No, just shut the fuck up. Junior is not the best NASCAR driver ever. Let's get that out of the way. Nor is he even in the fucking top 10 of best drivers. I love Junior. Junior's a cool guy. I like the fact that he's Senior's kid, but that doesn't get the fact that he isn't that good of a driver. I mean, look at the past few seasons. Look at his first season with Hendrick. He won one race. That was lucky because of fuel mileage and the fact that it ended under caution, and the fact that that was it. That was his only win that year. He made the chase and he finished dead last in the points. Then you look at 2009, 25th in the points, no wins, no poles, no nothing. And then in 2010, didn't make the chase again. 2011 got screwed out of winning 2 races and made the chase. At least I think he did. 2012, he got that win at Michigan, and it's like, oh my God, Junior hasn't won 4 years, and it's ironically at Michigan. It's his June race. I'm like, okay, well, when the fuck is he going to win another race? Yeah, another fuel mileage race. The same thing at the same track where he won his last official Points Cup race. And then 2013, I'm just like, okay, I can guarantee what's going to happen this year. Junior's going to be hyped up again. He's not going to win any races. He may win a pole, and he may get in the chase, but he won't do anything in the chase. And I was surprised. I'm just like, holy shit, Junior's actually going to finish in the top 5 in points? What fucking year am I in? 2004? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then this year, I'm just blown away by, how he's doing. And it's sad that this is his first multiple win season in 10 years. I'm just like, God, and people out there are just like, oh my God, Junior's gonna win the championship. Junior's gonna win the championship. I'm just like, no. As much as Dale Jr. is cool, and as much as a good driver he is, he's not the best driver, or he's not even in the top 10 of best drivers. He's a good driver, but he's definitely not championship material. He's kind of like the Kyle Busch of Hendrick, I guess, or of NASCAR. When it comes to winning the championship and getting all hyped and shit, and then nothing happens.
Go up to a Dale Jr. fan. Ask him, are you a fan of his because he drives good, or his daddy?
And most of them will say his dad.
Yeah. And none of them are just like, oh my God, Junior can drive. No, it's always, oh my God, I love watching Dale Sr. in the 80s and 90s, and then when Junior came around, I was like, oh my God, I'm watching Junior. And I'm just like, why? I don't even give 2 shits. If Brad Keselowski has a kid, and his kid sucks, I'm going to flat out say, I don't give a shit if Brad is his dad. He fucking sucks. Or if Jeff Gordon's kid gets into NASCAR and he sucks. I'm just like, I don't care if his dad's Jeff Gordon, one of the best drivers of all time, he still sucks. Just the fact that someone's racing kid. Well, yeah, Kyle Petty's another good example. 8 wins out of his whole career. And the last win that he had, ironically, was the day my sister was born. And that was the last time he won. That's the last time anybody even talked about him.
I would continue. Finish what you're going to say.
Okay, I was going to be like, Kyle, even though Kyle is a shitty driver, he did say one important thing, after Richard Petty retired in '93, that he doesn't want to be in the shadow of Richard Petty. He doesn't want to be the next Richard Petty. He just wants to be Kyle Petty. And I'm just like, for one, someone's actually like, hey, I'm not just going to ride in the coattails of my dad. I'm actually trying to make a name for himself. And I'm just like, you really should have just rode in the coattails of your dad, because doing it by yourself, you just sucked ass. I mean, look at what he's done. I mean, the only time he got lucky was when he was driving for Felix Sabates in the 80s and 90s. And then after that, when he quote-unquote, formed his own team and got Hot Wheels to sponsor his car, that's when his career really went down shit creek without a paddle. And then he went back to Petty Enterprises after his really successful business venture, got together. And then, he just... Kyle Petty just sucks. Let's just leave it at that.
Our good friends at Butts in Seats podcast, shout out to Josh, Evan, and Frank. Last 5 minutes of their recent episode, they were talking about how and the NWO, a wrestling faction, sponsored his number 49 car for a couple of races, and this was back in 97, 98. He didn't do well. And not only that, he was an honorary member of that group. And I'm like saying to myself, why?
Oh, good God.
Well, Vincent was a part of that group, and there was Buff Bagwell and a bunch of other shitty wrestlers in the NWO outside of the Hulk Hogan's and Kevin Nash's and Scott Hall before he completely coked himself out of.
Phil, you know what Buff Bagwell's doing now, right?
I haven't heard about him in a while.
Oh my! He is now a professional man whore.
Well, I could.
I gotta. Let me just send you. Let me just send you the link to it. So, yeah, he's now a gigolo.
I thought you were gonna say he's a professional janitor. I was like, damn.
Let me just. Yeah, I'm gonna send him. Give me 1 second. Yeah, he's on that show Gigolos now.
Oh God. I mean, he was a shitty wrestler, and he did softcore porn and shit too, supposedly, and now he's a gigolo. So I guess that's the next step after you do softcore porn.
Alright, let's see. It's actually pretty funny. You should look at the rates that he's offering. Let's see.
Oh God, please.
Chunky Larry and MSR Reanimator made fun of him on the latest couple of episodes of Mega Powers a couple episodes ago. Let me just mail it. I know this is not NASCAR, but it's kind of funny. All right, link sent. Okay, where is it? Yeah, so yeah, it's like they waste. Yeah, WCW was pretty much stupid and wasting money on a car which Kyle Petty did crap to.
I mean, it's the same thing with the WCW car because they used it on Steve Grissom or something,
yes.
And they didn't really win a lot. Good granny, are you serious? Wow, that is ridiculous.
Adam, I'm going to send you the link too. Give me 1 second.
Awesome.
See,
I don't really follow wrestling. Like, the only thing I know about is that Elizabeth watches it a lot, and I'm just like, okay. Oh my God, this guy totally looks like one of those porn stars from the 80s with the fucking handlebar mustache and shit. Good. Oh my God. Weight 6'1", weight 230, weight age 43, hair color dark brown, eye color dark brown. Okay, blah 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 blah. A true Southern gentleman. Marcus once again is ready to hand a few roses and entertain you for the evening. But if that's not your cup of tea, we forever, you're Buff the Stuff. Buff the Stuff. Oh my God.
Chunky Larry wanted to start a Kickstarter so he can raise like $3,000 to have him on Vegas Powers Radio. Everybody was totally against that.
Oh my God. Buff the Stuff. Jesus Christ, I lost my shit. That's just, what the hell? 2 hour, 4 hour, oh my God. Weekly rate, $25,000? Oh my God, seriously. This is just stupid.
I know.
Oh my God, like, dude, even if I was a man whore, I'd just be like, hey, if you want to do this, just give me a couple $100 and whatever, I don't fucking care.
Alright. We lost Phil.
Yep, I don't know what happened.
I don't know either, but we'll just, we have some questions from Phil, since everybody wanted their refrigerator rated by Tony.
Tony Stewart?
Yeah.
Oh, good God.
Alright, he left a couple matches this show. Will Forehead and Pukemania respawn at New Hampshire after having their best results of the season?
No.
I have no idea.
This is Danica we're talking about. Danica never fucking finishes where everyone expects her to. Oh my God, Danica, shut the hell up. Like, dude, have you not been watching NASCAR like the last 3 years? DW is the perfect example of why she's hyped up. Why? That's all she is nothing but hype. Look at how bad she did in her first stock car debut in 2010. Shitty. Every race she finished in the 30s. And then look at her first full-time nationwide series season in 2011. Still finished shit. And the only reason she finished fourth at Las Vegas was because she got lucky and decided to gamble. If she didn't gamble, she would have been finishing like at least in the 20s or whatever. There was talk of, oh hey, maybe Danica should start racing a cup, and I'm like, for the love of God, no, just stay away, please, and stay away. Oh, 2012, Danica making her Sprint Cup debut for Supercross Racing. I'm like, okay, the other 42 drivers, for the love of God, just put on some extra, extra protective helmets and make your car like steel and force, because she is just going to go through someone's car, and that she did. And it was the first lap she wrecked, and that she also wrecked with Johnson, and that was like probably the best way to start off that year, because Johnson wrecked, and
wait 1 second, I got Phil. Phil just said technical difficulties, so
okay.
It's been technical. This is going to be an episode of technical difficulties. That's going to be the name of the show.
I know, Jesus Christ.
Phil,
God,
you there?
Yeah, I just got back.
Oh yeah, because like I thought you just like said oh fuck this, I don't want to hear no more stories about Buff Bagwell, and we just stopped.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about Buff Bagwell anymore, but it got cut off. So.
Okay, well it was just like you mentioned it, so that's I had to give you that little tidbit. So anyway, we were discussing the first question you posted on our page, the forehead and pukemania one.
Yeah. Then I doubt either of them will do anything the rest of this year other than at Talladega. I mean, because of this top 5, a couple of my Facebook pages are like, oh, is this the start of him going and catching young money? No, it isn't. Because while Larson's had a few tough weeks, when he finishes top 10, occasional top 5 with the chance of winning, versus where Dylan finishes in the top 20. Yeah, that's good for a rookie. But when you consider how much hype he has and how much money he has behind him, to be finishing top 20 in that equipment, I mean, no neck sucks and gets better finishes than him. And Paul Menard is outperforming the both of them, and he's done nothing in this sport really outside of one Indy win and a couple of the win at Milwaukee and then Busch car. But the forehead and pukemania, she's more likely to go and take a few on her face per week than she is freaking going and getting another top 10 like that, or actually earning a top 10. That's really what it is. Because getting a top 10 at a plate race is just a complete crapshoot.
Alright, changes to plate racing. I would just say get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at how long the restricted plate's been in NASCAR. It's been in NASCAR for 26 years, and it's given us some great racing, and it's given us some pretty shitty racing. A lot of people were like, oh my god, if you take off the restricted plate, you'll be going like 225 at Talladega. I'm like, okay. I mean, like, the whole point of racing at Talladega and Daytona is to race as fucking fast as you can, and if that's the top speed, then you're just gonna have to fucking deal with it. I mean, like, I know that's the kind of speed they run in IndyCar on a normal fucking track. But, I don't know. The play package, like Phil said, that they have this year for both Nationwide and Cup is just shit. The 500 was scattered. It was like a 50-50 with me. Half of it was good, half of it was bad. You go to Talladega, I was really let down and disappointed of how it's just like, what the fuck is this? This isn't Talladega. This is some bullshit. And then we get to Daytona, it's worse than it was in the last 2 other races. Not only was plagued 2 days for rain, but it was also plagued in the race. We couldn't fucking finish it. We had to finish it under a rain delay, and that's like one of the worst things you can do, especially at a plate track, is finish under rain. I mean, like, the last time that a race at Daytona in the 400 was rained out was in '96 when Sterling Marlin won, and the play package they have this year is just dog shit, and I honestly have not seen a great restricted plate race in like 2 years, and I don't know what NASCAR needs to do, but yeah, I may be for them just getting rid of the plate racing altogether.
I remember actually, one of Kansas Daytona 500s that he won, I think it was 2009, got called short, and then Mikey, when he won his second one, they had called it right after halfway. It wasn't even close. I think it was 103 laps, and they called that one for sure. I don't really remember rain playing a role at Talladega. It usually happens at Daytona, but yeah, I mean, Sterling Marlin 95, they had fog. I think they got all the way, and then Jimmy Johnson, when he won the first time, that race should have been rain delayed. They ran in legit fog. Tony hit everything but the lottery that day, and they finished. They won. They ran that race after he had his first car. First car was illegal. They gave him the car back. They rebuilt it, and they still won the freaking 500. But going into what the package should be, I'm talking. Keep on bringing up Randy. He's a guy that should be on the show because he could talk about this sport just like me and Adam, and we are passionate about it, and he's watched it for a long time. They need to bring the horsepower up, meaning open up the restrictor plate a little bit, adjust the front ends, and take off that splitter. Because I've never seen a Ford Fusion slam to a ground like that. I've never seen a Chevy SS slam to the ground like that. And I definitely haven't seen a Toyota Camry look like that. Those cars all have front end clearance of like a foot. So make them look like the real cars. If it's supposed to be stock car racing, make them look like the real cars. It'll make them have to back off in the corners. It'll make them actually have to separate a little bit. Give them some suspension travel, which is a problem with the car in general. They don't have any suspension travel. You need to go and make them use springs and shocks and actually have to adjust that. Instead of them basically not having any front end except for turning, lift that front end up, put a bigger spoiler on it, and give them more horsepower and let it go. His idea, which is cool, is to break records at Daytona and Talladega to get people to show up. If they're doing single car qualifying, let them run with no plates and see who can build the biggest motor, and go run with no plates in qualifying. Single car, it won't be all that bad. Once you get to the race, you have to put the plates back on. Okay, that's fine, because they obviously don't want to figure out a way to control the fuel-air mixture with the fuel injection to slow the cars down that way. So put a bigger plate on it. Let them bump draft, let them tandem. Give people an option. Give them more radiator. There's a bunch of things they've changed that have made plate racing really bad. I've never been a fan of plate racing, mainly because my drivers haven't been that good at it. But if handling is involved, and if having to back off in the corners is involved, then the racing has to be better. And if they aren't going to do that, well, it's typical if that's the case. But those are things that can be done and can actually make the races better. Because the tandem, to me, I was a fan of the tandem. I loved it because there's strategy involved. You had to go and time things right. There was passing for the lead. There's never passing for the lead in the stupid pack garbage. The only reason they changed the package is because Junebug couldn't do any good in it. It's the same way as they had a package, and Dale Earnhardt didn't like it in 2000 after the Daytona 500 was one of the worst Daytona 500s ever. He's like, I hate this package. So they put the package they had for about a year on there, and the cars qualified as slow as they ever had, but the racing was all right, and they could pass a little bit. Then they changed it once the Dale Sr. passed away, and since then they really haven't had a package that's been good outside of the tandems. The stupid mainstream media and Junebug fans are...
Okay, well, how much talent does Pukemania show by avoiding, and I'm using that in quotation marks, those wrecks? Not a lot.
Yeah.
It's just Danica. It's just her fucking luck. Only the restricted plate tracks that she responds at. The rest of it, she'll just flop just like normal. So yeah, no, she didn't learn shit. She got lucky. That's it.
And what changes need to be made for fans who truly care? And what will actually happen? Well, I would say get rid of Brian France, Mike Helton, Robert Pemberton. Those I would get rid of and get actual people that know the sport and have them run it.
I would get rid of the chase, get rid of France, Pemberton, and Mike Helton, and probably with the 48 sales inspection, give him more of a penalty than you would a normal driver, because he's gotten away with so much shit in the last 8 years, and every year since he's been in NASCAR Cup full time, he's cheated. Him and Chad have cheated and gotten away with it. And that thing where the illegal seat post was found in his car in Daytona, he was, quote unquote, said to have been penalized 25 points and have Chad suspended for 6 races. But by Vegas or Bristol, that they retracted that shit. And I'm just like, goddamn favoritism. So yeah, definitely would get rid of the chase and France and Mike Helton and Robin Pemberton and the chase and put harsher penalties on the 48.
This is something we can talk about, every week, because there's so many. We could focus on one aspect of the sport and talk about it every week. Obviously, we all agree is a major problem, because basically everything he's done since he's come into power has been a joke. Other than the fact that the chase was something that was going to come, I think, eventually, because they have enough problems keeping people involved in the races in the fall because of football. They needed to have something like that. The constant changing of the chase is annoying and aggravating and, quite frankly, ridiculous, because in the end, Jimmy Johnson wins anyway. It doesn't matter how many ways you change a chase. He's won it 3 different ways. I would definitely get rid of Brian France. I would definitely look into how the schedule lays out. I would say that supply and demand is the way to go, instead of going to crappy tracks twice, or tracks that, don't draw very well. I would go there once, run either 500 laps or 500-mile races, depending. Add more road courses and more short tracks to the schedule. And in the case of the nationwide and trucks, they need to reevaluate both of those schedules and the way they're trying to run the business model. Because obviously the business model they have sucks. Because they have short fields, lack of sponsorship, and it's almost impossible for them to actually be viable. It's a cup benefit in nationwide because of the way sponsorship has gone, because of NASCAR hogging sponsorship, and because that's the way they've had it. Mark Martin started it back in the early 90s with Jack Roush and Kyle Busch. He's become the king of the minors.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, driver. Now it's time for Drivers of the Week. It pains me to say this. I don't have one. It's just the race was just so horrific and bullshit. And I just said fuck it. I'm not going to pick one. It's just.
Yeah. I have one. I think mine would be. Well, last week it was Newman because he finished third. This week, I'd probably have to say my driver would be. I know this probably sounds like a little bit out there, but I'm picking Vickers for, not because he got lucky finishing second, but because, like I said, this year he really has stepped it up, being a full-time driver for the 55, and he's just gotten better and better every week. And he's not letting the fact that his past issues with his health, with his blood clot issues and shit, he's not letting that get to him. And he's done pretty good this year. And finishing second, that's really impressive. And not to mention, I'm also a big Vickers fan, so to see him finishing second, that's pretty cool.
For me, for the driver of the week, I'll pick two instead of one. I know I'm supposed to pick one, but I give him props to Landon Castle driving that Hillman 40 car up front, basically driving it sideways like he looked like Days of Thunder out there, and he did a great job, and he is underemployed for the amount of talent he has shown this year in a car that's probably got a tenth of the funding that some of these big guys have. Landon Castle was impressive to me on Sunday before he ended up getting taken out by Greg Biffle. Hillman's team, Bobby Labonte had a good run, and he hasn't had a good run in about, other than the Daytona 500 2-3 years ago, he hadn't had a good run in a decade, basically. I give it to him, I give it to Ryan Sieg, because he didn't get car longed, he got a third place finish, actually got some TV time for a small team out of Georgia. Those two guys were, I give my shout outs to them. Those are the guys I give, especially, but specifically, if you're going to say one, I say Landon Castle, because that team has been steady all year for the kind of funding they have, which is not a lot, and what little they have to work with.
Okay, then. Now it's time to get in the plugs. We are proud members of the Geeks of the Industry.com. There is 11 shows now in this conglomerate network. The flagship show, Geeks of the Industry, with Chunky Larry and Loco Cola. They discuss pop culture. We got 4 wrestling shows now. Mega Powers Radio with Chunky Larry, MSR, and Reanimator. We have Wrestling with Smut with Ree and Natalie. They talk about, if you like wrestling porn, that's your podcast right there. Pro Wrestling Nation with Funky Sam Medina. He talks about wrestling with other people and sometimes interviews wrestlers from California. We have NXT Cast now. They're possibly joining the family with Chris Nixon, Thelonious Punk, and Bernard Binder. They talk about the wrestling in the WWE developmental. We have, if you're into video games, Carclitch International with Bernard Binder and Evan Hill. Which, by the way, Bernard, if you're listening, you're after this month, I probably will be dead because of you. Then we have Chad Tattersby with Chunky Larry. He talks about whatever is on his mind. We have Two for Flinch with Chunky Larry and MSR. They also talk about whatever they are on their minds. We have Sleeve Notes with Thelonious Punk. He discusses music albums with people. I will be a future guest on his show. We'll be discussing Tori Amos' Boys for Pele. Mr. None and All with Barrett Muller, who's supposed to be our guest, but again, due to his career with the U.S. Air Force, it's kind of like a time difference and all that kind of stuff. So, but we thank him anyway for serving our country. Also, there is Buzz with Seats, the podcast we talked about earlier with Josh, Evan, and Frank. They talk about the life and death of WCW. We have, and he has another show called Wrestle Radio Australia. He hosted with his friend Todd about Australian wrestling. Turnbuckle Throwback with Bill Rhea and Dave Megapowers, and I would love, and I thank them for airing my commercial on their podcast. I'm very grateful for that. Shining Wizards with my good friends Kevin, Tony, Matt, and Eddie. They also discuss wrestling, and they have guests on. If you're into soccer, Shoot the Defense with my good friend Stel. Because it's World Cup season, they're talking about that nonstop. Let's see what else. Out of the Tunnel with Michael T. Myers and Adam Lovelace. They're obviously gay men who talk about NASCAR. And also Michael is a NASCAR journalist who isn't part of the mainstream media, but he's neutral, so that's a good thing. And the Blow Show with AJ Lee and Punch. Also, they talk about pop culture. And finally, Sogo Podcast with Frank, Carly, and Kinder. They also talk about pop culture. My Twitter handle is Elizabeth Moxley. Just to let you know, most of the stuff I post on there is not safe for work. And also, I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/ToriMoxley27. More than welcome to add me. And our group is facebook.com/groups/NASCAST 500. We are encouraged to have more people joining us and have more questions we can discuss. I mean, I'm grateful if we have 66 people, but we need more. And also, for Facebook Facebook.com/groups/Geeks of the Eye. That's our main group page. Everybody's welcome to join. And I think that's it. How about you guys? You got any plugs?
Not at the moment. My Twitter is YouTube. I mean, I would say YouTube. Twitter, The Desert Bandit. That's my Twitter handle. And catch me on YouTube, Sonny Burnett 1988. And that's about it for now.
And for me, I'm at Philip G. Mathew on Twitter, and always looking for more followers. I usually retweet interesting motorsport stuff, and I throw in my 2 cents. Usually, I was in a lot of conversations with Brandon Igdalski this week due to the IndyCar race, and so I usually try to get connected with the racing people, and I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/Philip G. Mathew. So if you want to add me on, please do. And keep listening to us here on